Hello, everyone, and welcome to David Goodman's Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I have the honor of hosting this show every single week. We have a very special guest today, Mr. Donald Smart. But before I introduce him again, I just want to wish everybody a happy Black History Month and also happy Valentine's Day weekend. We have a very, very special show for you today. And it's been setting on my heart a little bit about what's been happening this past year to some of our Black professional women, how they lost their positions due to the new DEI law that went through. So that's what, we're going to talk about today. And Donald Smart, thank you so much for coming. Donald Smart he's obviously a lawyer, and he's the Smart Law Firm. He is a Harvard lawyer, Harvard graduate, which is so impressive. And he's also a member of the Minority Business Association. We sit on the board together, and I am proud to be in your company, to sit on that board. And he does very good work there, and we all do, actually, helping our community. So without any further ado, welcome Donald Smart. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm pleased to be a part of today's Black History Month special edition.
Thank you. And so let's start out talking about what was been in my heart for so long since it's happened. And I'd like to get your feedback on that. I was thinking, since we've had this new law of DEI, and don't quote me on the numbers or anything because I didn't do any research, but I heard on the news and Facebook and social media that between 300 and 600,000 professional Black females lost their jobs due to the new DEI regulations. And so what I was thinking, sometimes you need a little push to go further. Sometimes when one door closes, another door open. And I was thinking, why can't we take this misfortune and turn it into something great? Like what we did back in Tulsa, Oklahoma, back in, what was it, the 1920s, how they built up Greenwood Avenue and started Black Wall Street. Why can't we come together, unite, start our own companies, okay, and support one another, which would take a lot of unity because our culture is one of the ones that, the dollar doesn't stay in our community that long. Why can't we take all of that negative energy, turn it into something positive, start our own businesses, and pay our own bills and support our own people?
Well, that certainly is a way of making lemonade out of lemons. To your point about the number of African American females that have lost their position in one way or the other because of either an actual DEI rollback or actual legislation, we look to the federal government alone, and over the past couple of years, several 100,000 women have lost their position. They don't keep tight numbers on it, but an extraordinary number of African American women have lost their positions because of the current administration's posture. And as a matter of fact, the numbers, it's reminiscent of what happened in 1912 when President Woodrow Wilson came in and said, I don't want to have any African American employees working for the federal government. It really, really is extraordinary. And I would venture to say one misgiving there is about professionals, African American females working in the DEI spaces, that somehow or other that is a pass or a waiver, or somehow they are less qualified, not just for that position, but for any position. The reality is that similar to my experience with my African American classmates at Harvard College, we were more than qualified than the average of the school or than the average of other constituencies at the school. So what we're talking about is a double loss. Not only have African American females taken the brunt of job loss with the federal government and also in the private sector, but these individuals are highly qualified, and this these job losses will have ramifications well into the future.
Definitely. It reminds me of that old cliche, we have to be twice as good.
Yes, yes.
And I know that is the situation. So why is it, I'm thinking with that, instead of sitting around, just taking it, do something about it. I want to just encourage them to understand what you have, use what you have, and be innovative, create what you were doing there. And, come together and, with your sororities, communities, and just reach out to everyone for support if you were to start, say, your own label in whatever business it was, baby food, take for example, and everyone join in and support. How is it that, if you know the history of it,
I do.
Did Greenwood start? I figured you did. Did Greenwood Avenue start? It was by one person who bought a bunch of land, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then sold it or leased it to other African American people that were not allowed to have a business in, say, the other communities. And that's how we built it up.
Right. Well, it's a situation where, first off, there is no question that if you have control over your personal economy, then you have more control over your life. You can have civil rights, but if you don't have economic rights and economic agency, then your civil rights are hollowed out in a very specific way. We see that in the extraordinary number of individuals who are performing well, doing well, and integrated in their government agencies or corporate businesses, but for some reason there's a new flavor in town, and all of these individuals are unable to enjoy the benefits of their hard work. So what to do is, as you've suggested, to take that same energy and that same talent and figure out a way to become involved in a entrepreneurial context, to start one's own business, to literally take back control over your personal economy. Not everyone will be able to do that, but because of education and technology, and quite frankly, given the ambition and drive of so many African American women and others who have been economically marginalized and misplaced, those same talents and abilities can be repurposed and re-engineered into an economic model that allows them to take control of their personal economy.
Exactly. And it's not as if, each person had to start their own business by themselves. This is a time to unite, to come together, to have a conversation and see what we can do together, and then support. The support is so important. And then, then it comes down to money. How long can a dollar survive, between our culture? Like it does in the Asian culture and, the Italian culture, I guess, that will be the real test. But this is the time for us to come together, or for them to come together. Those that with the education, with the ideas and innovation and everything, to just come together. I would love to start a chat, or a group me or something, and everybody just kind of like come together and vent about what happened to them when they lost their job, and
Right.
how are they feeling. It's group therapy. And then once you get through the therapy, start building. And that's what it's all about. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it isn't rocket science. We're talking about very highly educated women who are doing great work, and who are, like you said, more than qualified to do that job. So they've got to be able to come up with an idea and a business together, and support one another, and start, write up a business plan. What are we going to do? What's needed? How are we going to support it? And not just rely on, not doing anything or looking for another job. Pay your own bills.
Right.
I want to start Black Wall Street over again. I was looking at Facebook. They're having in Tulsa, no, in Tatum, Oklahoma, May 14th to May 16th. They're having a weekend, a 2-day Black Wall Street explosion with all of the vendors, all of the rodeos, and Tatum is one of the few black towns, all black towns that's left in Oklahoma. And so they have a rodeo, there's the cowboys, they have the vendors, they have the food trucks, they have everything, and it's for 2 days. And so I told Joe I wanted to go and check it out, because I have my own business. I want to support other businesses, and I think we could get ideas from that. So, go online, find out what's out there and what's needed. What we have a few of, what businesses are falling apart that you might be able to, pick up.
Right. We don't necessarily have to recreate the wheel.
Yeah.
One thing, well, two things actually. That number one, our economy has moved from an industrial economy to a post-industrial economy, to now we are in the knowledge and intelligence business. We exchange knowledge for dollars, and a lot of the American economy is postured in that way. What that means is that the cost of entry and who you're able to reach, who your clients are, is much broader, a much greater reach than simply Fairfield County or Bridgeport or New England, because knowledge is the commodity, is the currency, is the main product of the American economy, and increasingly the world economy. We have the knowledge. The second item that would enable us to regain control of our personal economy is technology. E-commerce and the transfer and exchange of knowledge for dollars using e-commerce or using modern technology means that you may not have a bricks and mortar in Shelton, but you literally are able to market and sell intelligence to the entire world. Those are two fundamental differences that really help an individual to become an entrepreneur, to establish a business with a reach that's truly global.
International. Wow, that's interesting.
I just wanted to give you an example that
Sure.
I represent a number of different entrepreneurs, and I am constantly surprised at how creative these entrepreneurs are, how their knowledge and their drive is a critical part of their success, but also how, and this is a new paradigm where it used to be a smaller 1-person, 3-person, 5-person family business. Their market is right here in Bridgeport. These 3 individuals have put together a international marketing and sales company. They market imprinted items, custom or stock, and they are reaching, after 2 years of operations, they are reaching over 55 countries, and they're scrambling to service all of the clients using e-commerce, using YouTube, using the social media platforms to develop their brand and to present their products. So we can use these new marketing avenues to push intelligence, to attract customers and clients around the globe, and that means, among other things, it's far, far easier for one person or two or a family that is otherwise outside of corporate America to reorganize and re-engineer how they take control of their personal economy. So that's a real strong plus.
Wow, that's a great point. Since I'm so technically challenged, I had not even thought of that. I had not thought of that. I was thinking more on a smaller business level, but you know, you can, the way it sounds, you can take a small business and go global. So, for example, I'm an insurance agent. I'm licensed. I can be licensed in every state if I want to, and you know, provide life insurance to people in Oklahoma, Alabama, or what have you. So is it that type of reach that you're talking about? That's an example of a service that I provide.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know,
Look at that. Go into the insurance business.
one of the growing.
I'll sign you up.
That's it. But it is
Seriously.
possible.
Yeah.
It is possible. Naturally, for some areas of commerce, there are natural and unnatural or statutory barriers to entry. Again, and this applies widely to any number of products or services, there are large so-called wish fulfillment centers that you can contract with, that you have the client or the customer, and this fulfillment center, a warehouse that may be located in Illinois or Florida, they actually handle all of your back-end activities, the packaging, the shipping, and so forth, and you're handling the front end. You are the front-facing component of your business, and with that business model, one or two individuals, entrepreneurs, are able to literally attract clients and customers from around the world.
Wow, that's interesting.
Right.
You know what?
Yeah.
I
Truly.
just thought of something. I'm always on Facebook when I'm on hold, scrolling, and I'm addicted to my phone. But anyway, there's this farmer, I think it's Jones or James Brown Farmer. That's exactly what he's doing.
Yes.
He's one of the few black farmers, and I could look it up for you. Don't quote me. I think he's somewhere in the Midwest. He does the collard greens, and he's like, instead of going to your local store to buy this, contact me. Here's this information. They will ship collard greens and sweet potatoes and whatever else you need from his farm to support his farm. And I plan to do that next year. And so and he's doing it on Facebook. So he's marketing via social media.
Right.
And that's
I have a niece that is beginning to do the exact same thing. She works in corporate America, but she wants to do a little bit more and prepare for the next stage of her professional life. So she is in the skincare business, and she's slowly developing the infrastructure and the connections to take it to the next level. She already has clients in 8 or 9 different states. She has a following and is beginning to receive interest and contacts from wholesalers in the U.S. and outside the U.S. who want to do more, but she simply cannot handle all of the additional attention. It's just a way that it used to be, going back to the 1920s or to the teens or earlier. Your market was within a couple of miles of where your business was. The revolutionary aspect of technology is that that's not necessarily the case. The entire world is your market, and you may govern yourself accordingly and reach out to those new markets.
That is, that's it. That's exactly what you need to do.
I wanted to share, if you will,
Sure.
take a half a step back on, you mentioned how did Black Wall Street start? And, by the way, that was Tulsa, Oklahoma, the so-called Greenwood district. It was nicknamed the Black Wall Street by Booker T. Washington, who visited there in about 1912 or 1910, saw what was going on, and gave them that name, and it stuck. If you look at what happened in the Greenwood district, in Florida, Eatonville, certain towns in Texas, Prairie View, also in North Carolina, in Wilmington, there were three common threads to the establishment of these Black Wall Streets. Number one, an individual or a family purchased a certain amount of land. In Greenwood's case, it was 40 acres, and they established complete control over that property. Secondly, the business model was to sell parcels to African Americans, not to discriminate, but to sell, because after all, other communities did not want to invest. They did not want to associate because of segregation and discrimination. And then the third element that made the Black Wall Street in the Greenwood district in Oklahoma a real success is that they deliberately organized a cluster of businesses, a bank and grocery stores and
schools
cleaners and laundries and all the different kind of businesses that are not trying to sell you something, but offering a service that you need. They were very strategic about it. And of course, as this cluster of businesses began to grow, to your point earlier, the African American dollar began to circulate again and again and again within the same area, so that, similar to the Asian American community, the Korean American community, the Hispanic community, the fact that you have the same dollar circulating throughout the community, it tended to help all of the businesses rise up and to be successful. That is what is at the heart of the success of all of the so-called Black Wall Streets around the country at the turn of the century, from the 19th to the 20th, or even earlier.
And you know what? Back then, it was so necessary. Wall Street, or Black Wall Street, was very necessary because the other businesses would not sell to Black people, to African Americans. Unlike today, if we generated that, yes, we like to have that money circulate, but today is a different time. And I think we can create another Black Wall Street and keep the dollar circulating within the Black businesses, but also accept other races as well. It's not to segregate just Black people and Black businesses, because that's not necessary today.
Right, that is correct.
Back in the 20s, that was so necessary that we could only sell to Blacks, to African Americans. So what I just want to point out for today is that that's not a necessity now. We will create Black businesses and still be able to sell to Asian people, Hispanic people, and so on and so forth. It's not limited just to Black people.
Correct.
But the important thing is, while doing that, keep that dollar circulating in the Black community to build our culture up, because we are one of the weakest, as far as I am concerned, or as far as I can see, because the dollar does not stay in our community that long. And I just think it's important to point that out. We're not looking to segregate.
Right.
Of course, because I have plenty of Hispanic and, Caucasian friends, and, it's just not necessary today. We're in a different world.
Right.
And you see all the protesters out there. There's everybody out there. Some of my best friends protested, and they were like, "Vanita, why don't you come to the Capitol with us?" And my best friends are white, and I was like, "No," because once I go down that road, I probably won't be able to come back. And you're white and I'm black. The treatment's going to be different. It's just going to be different. So anyway, not to get off point, but to your point and all the research you've done, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. I just want everyone out there to take this link and share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, so that this message gets out, to all of the people that have, adverse effect from, the regulations or deregulations or whatever of DEI, or have lost their jobs, and let, be inspired, be encouraged, and know your worth. You are smart, you are intelligent, and you can build yourself back up, and you can pay your own bills, create your own business, and that's my message. So just share it. So Don, we have about 2 minutes left on this show. It goes by so fast. I really appreciate the opportunity to bring on special guests like Donald Smart from the Smart Law Firm and share all this information with us. I'm going to give you the last 2 minutes of the show. What would you like to leave our audience with today?
What I would like to leave the audience with is the fact that we have the means of production. The technology is available. All we need is the will and the drive and the discipline to take control and to take ownership of our personal economy. It is happening, it must happen, and it's not an either-or proposition. You can still pursue a career in corporate America, perhaps under certain straits, but at the end of the day, you may very well decide you're happier and stronger by regaining the means of production and owning your own personal economy.
That's right. And just to add to that, if you don't have the resources, don't have the money to do it, there are banks out there that will give you a loan based on a great business plan. If you have a great business plan, you can probably get someone to invest in it. So you don't have to have a bunch of money. Don't let any obstacle stand in your way. If you have the will and the drive, get together, call somebody, call Don. He'll help you. He'll tell you what to do. He will definitely help you to get started. So Don, thank you so much for coming on. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.